So, as announced earlier, we have with us Honorable Mayor of Chestermere, Patricia Matthews. Patricia, welcome to Radio Sur Sangam. Thank you, Patricia. Sat Sri Akal. And we have with us in our studio RCMP Sergeant Glenn Henry. Glenn, welcome to Radio Sur Sangam.
Thank you, Sat Sri Akal.
Thank you very much. And Glenn, I think you have to move closer to the mic, saying Patricia, because the thing is that the place where our studio is, aeroplanes fly right on top of us, and these mics are very sensitive. You have to be really close to this. Anyway, there are so many things, and Patricia, I know it's the second time. You are here before, you were here during the election time, and I really appreciate that you came up with important information which really helped the community. So, and I really thank you that you choose Radio Sur Sangam whenever you wanted to convey a message to the community.
Thank you, Gurinder. It's very important that we have the opportunity to talk to as many people, residents and non-residents, as possible, and be able to update them. I've learned from my good friend a new phrase tonight that I didn't have the last time, maaf karo, because I understand my pronunciation is not the greatest.
That was very good, actually. You did really well.
Thank you.
You did really well.
Shukriya.
Thank you. And Sargent Glenn Henry. Sargent, we hardly... it's the opposite thing. Usually police call people to interview, and you are here in our studio. So I really thank you too, because you wanted to share some important information. What's the main issue we're going to talk about today?
Well, first of all, thank you, Shukriya, for inviting me to come and speak. I'm here really just to talk about the police in Chestermere, the RCMP, and to answer any questions that the community would have of the RCMP in Chestermere.
So, well, first of all, like you said, that police in Chestermere, RCMP. So for a common person who lives in Chestermere, how does it make this difference that RCMP is our police, not the Calgary police or any other police?
Every town and community has contracts or agreements as to what police force maintains the peace in their community. And the town of Chestermere has a contract with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, as they do. The RCMP also polices the provincial area and areas surround us, such as Airdrie, Okotoks, Strathmore. We are a separate detachment, but part of the big RCMP family.
So, RCMP, like it's a very honored police force, and lots of good things about RCMP. So that means for the people of Chestermere, is it a really good thing that RCMP is policing them?
I would never want to say anything bad about our partners with the Calgary City Police, but I'm very proud to be a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. We bring to Chestermere a vast array of resources that a small town could use, especially a small town that's close to the largest city in Alberta, Calgary. I think it's important to understand and to recognize that we work very closely with the Calgary City Police. By being so close, we have to. And we have very good relations with them, and I'd like to think that will continue.
That's very good. And to our listeners, we are talking to the Mayor of Chestermere, Patricia Matthews, and Sergeant Glenn Henry from RCMP. And although we're going to talk about the Chestermere policing, but I think like these issues we're going to talk probably will benefit everybody, because for any citizen, doesn't matter where he or she lives, Chestermere or Calgary or anywhere else, these things are very important to know. So, on some lighter note, sometimes people think, some people although I'll say that I don't buy that thing, but people say, okay, police, they are just for protecting the people, for overspeeding, things like that. But I'm sure policing is a really, really tough job, and in order to make a society safe, everything, what are the expectations from the police perspective, from the citizens, from the people?
Well, maybe just to comment what you said about the role of the police in a community. I think one of the ideas about living in Chestermere is that we have a sense of safety and peace. In the absence of a police force, people can come out and do any criminal activity that they want. So having a very strong and stable police force does give the residents of the community a sense of safety. And we're very proud to say that our crime rate is relatively low compared to the city of Calgary, and that the people, I believe, in Chestermere feel safe to walk the streets at night, to be out in their front lawns and not worry about crime happening to them or be out in the community. What we'd expect from the citizens of Chestermere is to abide by the laws, both local laws, provincial laws, federal laws, and for the most part, I don't think that's a difficult thing, because we all recognize that we have to respect people's rights and their property. So I think for the most part we have a very good community. I think the police force in Chestermere, the RCMP, have very good public support, and we will deal with the issues as and when they arise.
So, because like Sargent, I think you have so many praised for the city of Chestermere people. I would like to know from Patricia. Patricia, do you agree with this thing that Chestermere is a good community and relatively peaceful and everything?
Sergeant Henry is completely correct in that most people that I talk to, if not all of them, feel that Chestermere is a very safe place. And the thing that I want to remind people of is that the RCMP are very approachable. Every one of the members that are in Glenn's team are very approachable. So if you see them on the street or in Tim Hortons or on Safeway and you have a question, they're always open to have a conversation with you. They are very friendly people.
Well, that's I think that's good to know. I would like to ask Sargent. I had a really something with, because I live in Chestermere. I think I don't know because I do lots of programming. Some people might not know that, but I live in Chestermere. So a general perception is, because as a law-abiding citizen, it's your duty to report to police whatever wrong you see or you watch. Sometimes it is the suspicion, like you're not sure, because obviously even police sometimes, I think, I don't think even like certain times police has to take some action where they are not 100% sure. But what's the police expectation from a common person if there is a suspicion and that person comes to police, or like two things. First of all, should people come even if you have a little suspicion, and what's the privacy, how the privacy is kept?
I think you touch on a very good point, and maybe this lends to the notion of community policing. There are 16 RCMP officers in Chestermere. There are over almost close to 15,000 residents. As a police force, we would not be effective if we did all the policing ourselves.
Absolutely.
We have to have the support and the information from the residents. I don't live or have police officers live in every community or every street in Chestermere. So I need, as a police force, information all the time as to what's happening. What is suspicious activity in the different neighborhoods? What is different? What has changed? If we have a theft, for example, we need to speak to people and let them know what they saw. It is the people that help us to help our community to solve crime. So when we do have situations where people suspect crimes, we appreciate and we rely on those people to come to us to give us that information. The policing role is a people industry. We can't do it without people. We have to talk to people. We have to interact with people.
That's the main source of information.
That starts everything. So without people coming to us and assisting us, we would not be very effective. So after saying that, we also recognize that sometimes people will tell us information that could get themselves into a difficult situation with the people that they tell us about. So we have very strict rules on how we call them informants. We have very strict rules on how we interact with those people. We respect people's privacy. A good example of your privacy and your protection is if you tell me information about somebody and you are the only person that knows that information, I will have a discussion with you whether I can use that information or not, because I do not want you to get into trouble. We will always want to know your information. It is very common for us to take the information that you tell us and then we develop it into more information. And a good example of that would be some of our marijuana grow-up houses where a neighbor will tell us that there's suspicious activity. We will take that information which points us in the direction of a certain residence. Then we can look at different techniques to try to make that information into evidence that allows us to do search warrants and to do our lawful duty. A lot of the information we have will start with a member of the public, and we'll carry it from there. So it's crucial to what we do.
So it's really important for a citizen to, like, even if there's a small thing, it's always a good idea. It's always safe to share that information with the police wherever you are.
Yes.
Right. And to our listeners, we are talking to the Sargent from RCMP Glenn Henry and Honorable Mayor Patricia Matthews. Patricia, I think, talking about policing, law and order, I think, what is your level of satisfaction, the law and order situation? Because, there are various fronts. I think, I'm not sure, maybe again, Sargent, but I think speeding or bad driving, this is probably not that serious, but then it comes down to, thefts and drugs and other things. What's the main challenge, number one challenge in the city of Chestermere?
I think from a political perspective, we are looking at how we keep our community safe. And in the last 2 years, what we've done is we've ensured that we have enough RCMP officers in place to make that happen. A few years ago, I'm sure you remember, there was a lot of gang activity that was happening.
There were, absolutely.
All around.
Because especially, like you said, I live in Chestermere, and then people who know, okay, and they, because this, people point that thing out, things happening in Chestermere, yes, yeah.
Absolutely. And by shoring up that RCMP complement so that we have enough people on the ground actually taking a look at that, we've reduced the number of incidents that we've seen greatly, I would have to say. I think the people in the town of Chestermere are quite happy with the RCMP that we've got now. We have the right people in place, and Glenn's doing an excellent job of making sure that he's out in the public. He's doing things like this so that people understand they can approach him. And so we as citizens can identify the people within our community who maybe shouldn't be there, the bad guys, as it were.
Absolutely. Patricia, because Sargent is talking about from law and order perspective, from those things. But apart from that angle, are there any concerns from you? What do you expect from citizens people of Chestermere that, any issues, what do you expect from people?
What we're looking at right now and what we're concentrating on is a better way to communicate with the residents of Chestermere, all residents of Chestermere. Right now I send out a mayor's message. Council goes out and meets with people on a regular basis. But we are looking through our community services department to look at better ways to get people's input. Are we doing the right things? Are we hitting the issues that people have? What's the best way for us to tell you about it? How do you know whether, the initiatives that we've put in place are even there? How do you know what we're working on? How do we tell you? So we would really appreciate any feedback from residents.
So we need to be more interactive, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect. I think we'll take a small break. We'll come back and I think there will be some more information from Sargent, and we'll talk about that, and we'll take a little commercial break.
Great, thank you.